Well, hello there. This is Vichar's the Chess Noob, learning and having fun with chess. Welcome to another episode of Quick Wins. And not just any quick wins, number 100. I'm so pleased to have reached the century. And it wouldn't have been possible without my subscribers who submitted many of the games, but also you, dear viewer, for, keeping with the channel, keeping with the series and sending through words of encouragement and what you liked and things you thought could be improved. Now, today isn't just the 100 episode, but it's a special day because it's the anniversary, 1 year anniversary of the release of my book, 50+2 Chess Quick Wins, released exactly 1 year ago. It's sold really quite well. If you haven't got your copy, get it from Amazon. Now today, because it's number 100, I thought I'd do something a little bit special. So I've been writing a new book this year. Not another compendium of 50 games in the Quick Win series, but something very aligned to that idea. I've been writing a book on what I've considered to be the best opening traps and opening attacks in all of chess. So looking at those lines, why it works, potential refutations, variations, and also with that, stories about the people who've played these games over history. I'm going to talk about some material from the draft of my book. I'm about 70% into the first draft. I'm going to talk about what I think might well be the single most brilliant, the best, the most beautiful opening attack in all of chess. I'm going to talk about the Légal Trap. It's been around almost 300 years now, 275. I'm going to firstly look though at this game from Anton Charon. It's sort of an indication of how the trap works. And at the end, I'm going to talk about the original game, the OG game played by Légal himself. Well, let's go take a look. Now, and André Charon, I think he was a 3-time French chess champion. He played this game as an exhibition match. I think it might have been a Simul in 1929. Really demonstrates the idea and the position of the Légal Trap very, very well. He starts with a very simple opening, the Italian game. So e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4, Italian game. Very nice, very simple. His opponent decides to play a relatively slower move, a bit inaccurate, but certainly not a blunder, d6. So it's not the best move in this position. This is actually called the Paris game, I think, or the Paris defense, because it kind of blocks in that dark square diagonal. Now, White, Charon, decides to just develop the other knight. Makes a lot of sense. And here we sort of get the idea of what Janos was thinking about with bishop to g4, pinning that king's knight to the queen. There's a bit of logic to that. It's not a mistake, but, not the most accurate move. Because here, White can play and does play h3, asking the question, what exactly is that bishop doing there? And here, what Black needs to do is to maintain the course, understand why they put that bishop there in the first place, which is to trade the bishop for the knight. However, Black here didn't do that. They played a very natural looking move, bishop to h3, and this is a mistake. You can see White now gains the advantage, and the reason for that is that the knight is not in fact pinned to the queen. The knight has capture of g5. It's a brilliant move. Oh no, my queen. It's a trap. It's a poison queen. If Black captures the queen, it looks like they can do that. It's a blunder, mate in 2, and this is the beauty of this line. The mating net is just so lovely. Bishop captures a pawn on f7. with check, of course, defended by the knight, king has nowhere to go other than Bong Cloud. So king e7, and now we've got the second knight to d5, and look, every square is covered. It's mate with the coordination of 3 minor pieces on move 8. Fantastic. It is so lovely, and every move that black made seems to be completely natural, seems to completely make sense. Now, you might think, well, what if black doesn't take the queen? What if it doesn't take the bait? What if knight captures knight? And this looks like it's a problem because that knight follows on with an attack there. So queen captures, knight captures. Hasn't white simply just lost a piece? The answer is no. White is still ahead because the queen can now fly across the fifth rank to b5. It's an absolute fork of the king and knight. Best thing that black can do is play c6, captures, and white is better developed in this position, has won a point of material, which was that original pawn on e5. White is doing great. So this is the logic behind the Légal Trap. The Légal Trap can be played in a number of openings, not just the Italian game. And so the second match, we're going to go backwards in time by about, 30 odd years, a little bit over 30 years, to this game played by Harry Nelson Pillsbury. Pillsbury was an American, very young chap, so in his 20s, so maybe his late 20s when he played this game. By the early 20s, he was the best player of Boston, probably the best player of New York, and he was starting to be thought of as the new Morphy, the second Morphy. In fact, Pillsbury was so strong, there's a good chance that he could have become world chess champion. He scored really well against the first and second world chess champion, the Steinitz and Lasker. But unfortunately for Pillsbury, in a tournament in St. Petersburg, he probably caught syphilis, doing some naughty things, and he didn't do well afterwards. He got chronically ill, chronically unwell, developed neurosyphilis, and in fact passed away from the consequences of neurosyphilis at the age of 33. Died very young, never got a chance to really get to his strength where he could have become the champion. However, in this game, it was another exhibition match, playing a Simo. He was really good at simultaneous games and also at blindfold chess. Let's see what he does. He plays this in the Vienna game, one of my favorites. e4, e5, and knight c3. His opponent plays the Max Lange defense. And what does Pillsbury do? He plays the Vienna gambit in the Max Lange defense. Already, I feel a sense of kinship. Absolutely great. And here, black's d6 makes a bit of sense against that. Now white simply develops the other knight. Black gets a little bit skittish, plays slower move, a6. Now bishop to c4. We can start to see the build-up of the position. Black pins the knight to the queen. And in this particular position, this version of the Légal Trap, white doesn't even have to play h3. They've got the immediate f captures the e-pawn like this. And this looks like a blunder because can't black just straight up capture that pawn? And that looks like it makes sense because it's putting pressure on the pin piece. But remember, there is no pin. This is the Légal Trap. Knight captures knight. Oh no, my queen. Also with an attack on the bishop. Bishop takes the queen. Fernandez doesn't know what's happening. And in this position, we've seen it before, bishop captures a pawn on f7 with check, king Bong clouds, and second knight to d5 mate. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. Now, let's go back a few hundred years to the original game. The original match played by de Légal. He was the master of the Regency Cafe in Paris. During 1750, Paris was the center of chess. and the master of the famous chess cafe, the Regency Cafe. He was probably the best chess player in the world. Légal was the best chess player in the world. So he would take matches from challengers. Saint-Bris, don't really know who he is, but Légal, being the master, being the king, gives him rook odds, which is why the A1 rook, the queen's rook, is not there. Légal's game of his eponymous trap has some extra special spice, which is why I needed to go with the indicative game first. Let's see what Légal does. Now, Légal starts off with the bishop's opening. So, e4, e5, bishop to c4. In this position, Saint-Bris decides to play, that's right, d6. Now this is potentially a fairly provocative move in context. The year is 1750. This looks like Philidor's defense. Philidor was the prodigal student of Légal. So Philidor, in his early teens, runs away off to Paris to potentially sort of do music. He was like a musical prodigy as well. And while he was there, he hung out in the chess cafes of Paris, and Légal took him under his wing, taught him chess, and Philidor was absolutely incredible. Now, later in his teens, Philidor had some adventures across Europe. He got stuck in the Netherlands, tried to hustle his way with chess to earn money to get back to Paris, but in the meantime made some English friends, ended up in England, befriended royalty, got a royal patronage to write his first chess book. And that book was published in French in 1749, a year before this match. In that book has a saying that you might be familiar with in terms of Philidor, that the soul of chess are pawns. The pawns are the soul of chess. And in that book, he advocates against the King's Knight opening, this move, d6, as what we now know as the Philidor's defense, as a really good opening. Now, Légal almost certainly in 1750 would have known about the exploits of his student, and also this preference, this analysis by Philidor that this is a good move. So this is a provocation, I think, by Saint-Bris against Légal. What did Légal do? Well, take it on the chin, let's move forward, but I'm sure in his mind he's thinking evil thoughts. Knight f3, the knight c6, the other knight. And there we go. Here's the bishop, and you'll notice we've in fact transposed to the critical position that we saw in the first game. Now, we established in the first game that for the Légal trap to work, for the trap to work, you have to play h3 first. Because if you captured straight up now, oh no, my queen, this doesn't work, because knight captures, knight defends the bishop, knight attacks that bishop, queen can't take, and you've just straight up lost a piece. You can see black is completely winning. However, what Légal did in this game was he played a ruse. So he's looking at the board and he fakes an accidental touch of his king's pawn. He accidentally touches the knight on f3. Pulls his hand back, and of course Saint-Bris sees and so reminds Légal of the touch move rule, which is if you touch a piece and it's legal to move that piece, you have to move it. So Légal reluctantly picks up his king's knight on f3 and captures the e5 pawn. Of course, seemingly the best looking move if you're forced to make a move. Saint-Bris gleefully thinks, aha, I've won Légal's queen, captures, but of course it was a charade. Bishop captures, king bomb clouds, and of course, mate. Fantastic, and just goes to show that even at the highest level, you can potentially play, romantic, dodgy, pirate chess, and it is completely okay. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Thank you for coming on this journey with me to 100 episodes in this series. Hopefully there'll be 100 more. Have a good day.